Okay, everybody, it's time to stream live with Life Advice Live, and I'm your host, Scott Ackerman. As always, this is the show where we take everyday common problems. We do not handle emergency situations. In the case that you do have an emergency situation, please get in contact with one of the mods in the chat. They will direct you to the correct hotline. As you can see today, I have a nice little filter put on here. They call this a dead cat. It's not actually a dead cat. But if you notice, now when I say P words, there's not a big which people really weren't too happy about, and I can understand why. Your Patreon money at work, people. Well, it didn't cost that much. It was like 20 bucks. But it's so silky smooth. Feel it on my skin. Oh boy, that's just so comfy. All right, let's jump into our questions today. We've got a couple people already lined up with questions queued up in the message section of my YouTube. Not many people know how to use that, so very excited to see those there. Let me just check in with chat and see who's already joined us for the day. Live dashboard, there we go. Welcome. Our mods today are Jade and Jenny. Anime Godfather, how's it going? Belgian Dude, welcome back. The Adorkables, welcome back. Zoyo, how's it going? Good evening, Zoyo. And who else? Man Bun for the win. I prefer to call this Chomage. Chomage. That's Japanese for like whatever that samurai haircut is. Hey, one question. Do you like scooters? I love scooters. They're almost my name, but with 2 O's instead of 2 T's. All right, what else do we got? James Corcoran, what's up, buddy? Talked to him before. Lucid Fur, and how's it going, bud? Love your icon, because I drew it. Oh, hi from Germany. Hello, Bonnie. Anybody else? Oh, Purple Fies. I just need more Internet Anomalies videos. Okay, Spoonie's coming up next. Don't worry, I promise to do it. No worries, no worries. All right, Jilly D? Jilly D in the house? Is Jilly D in the house? Live from Osaka, the man with the plan, Scott Ackerman. Is that how I should start every time? Howdy, Scott. How's it going, Travis? Hey, Braden. Yes, scooters. Okay. Nature nerd. Oh God, that's easy to say. I just was completely stupid with how I was saying it. Nature Nerd 1000, hello. Jilly D's in the house. And I mod for a gaming channel. You mod for a gaming channel too? Wow, cool. Excellent. Hey, Scott, arriving in Tokyo on August 13th. This is Hunter. Both you and the videos were what gave me inspiration. That is a huge amount of flattery there, Hunter. Thank you so much. I'm glad. So when I've been interviewing some people, well, one thing that's kind of blown me away is some people told me they went back to college to finish their degree to come to Japan because they watch my videos. And, like, I don't think I myself would even have the discipline to do such a thing. So good on them. All right. May I have a shout out, please? Braden Blevins. Shout outs for you, my man. I'm thinking you're a man. Maybe you are. I don't know. All right. Should we jump right into it, everybody? All right, here we go. Let's do it. Our first question up for today wants to stay anonymous. Won't say who it is. This is kind of a big one, and I didn't want my username attached to this. That's fine. We will not say it. I watched you forever, interested in Japan, and big horror fan, so obviously I love your channel. Well, thank you so much. You know who you are. And now you are doing this life advice thing. I don't know how you can help me so much. If you feel you can't help, that's fine. I'll try my best. Like I say, I can't always help, but I can always listen. I guess it's more about reaching out, venting, talking about it. I think it will help. Anyhow, my mom is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Don't judge. Keep reading. You will see. I don't know what to make of her. She really wanted kids but had trouble conceiving. After me, my dad said, I don't want another one. But she did, so she lied about taking birth control. She was actually still taking the hormones to make it easier to get pregnant, not the pill, okay? And then when I was 2, my sister was born, and my dad made it clear he wanted nothing to do with her. Oh, that's a shame, man. That's horrible. He moved into the spare bedroom for 2 years. Wow, that I'm already somewhat disgusted. The last year of which he was laid off of work, but he got half pay for a year from the termination, so he got a severance package. And so he decided to take it off. I was like 4 or 5. All my younger memories are of him, not my mom, because she wanted nothing to do with me. Wow. Oh my goodness, this is a rough situation. Ugh. All right, pulling at my heartstrings here. We were literally 2 separate families, one house. Wow. Me and my dad, my mom and my sister, then the official divorce. My dad went back to work and didn't want to take care of me full time. My mom took custody because it meant more money. Ugh. She tried to be my mom, question mark, by the way. But every now and then she would get sad and start crying that she didn't love me, but it wasn't my fault. It's my dad's. And ask for forgiveness. And she would ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry. I was 5. I didn't understand. I just knew she was sad. And when people asked to be forgiven, you did. It made them feel better. Oh man, this is killing me, dude. And even though she literally and often said, I don't love you, because of how it was presented, it didn't even click till I was in middle school. And yes, those episodes happened all the way up to then, which sounds fucking stupid for it to not get into my head till then. No, it doesn't at all. It does not sound stupid at all. That's way too much heavy stuff for a kid to process, even in the teen years. That's heavy to process. I don't see why you would, be expected to take on such heavy emotions and such a difficult situation at such a young age. When I was 8, she remarried, and it kind of pawned me off to my stepdad, who was abusive as hell. I have Asperger's, high-functioning autism, yep. And did the rocking thing. Oh, okay. And he made fun of me. Called me stupid/retarded. And if I dared to say no, I'm not, I was hit for talking back. Wow. This guy turned into a monster. But I still did anyhow because of pride. But that only lasted till a point. Eventually I stopped. But then he just started hitting me for not listening to him when he was talking to me. Basically, he just was fucking angry, and I annoy people. No, it just sounds like this man wasn't patient, wasn't acting like an adult, wasn't taking on the responsibility that life had granted him, or the gift of a child. Back then, I didn't think I was being abused enough for it to be called abuse, because if it was my mom, she wouldn't have allowed him to. Well, if she wouldn't have allowed him to, that at least it shows some sort of empathy on her part. She would have protected me. I wonder what she meant then when she said she didn't love you, because really I feel like if you go out of your way to protect someone, if you go out of your way to stop the abuse, there's a very caring part of you. There's a very deep part of you that cares beyond just the little bit of humanity that watches abuse take place but does nothing about it. The person that steps in, especially when it's a woman stepping between a man and a child, I mean, that's a pretty strong form of protection, which I'm not saying it necessarily translates into motherly love, but it does translate into some sort of love on a different level. Anyway, sorry, let me continue. He would tell me stories about how tough he was. Wow. Anybody who needs to tell stories about how tough they are is usually the most thin-skinned asshole ever. This guy sounds like one thin-skinned asshole. Like one time he accidentally killed someone by hitting him too hard. Okay, buddy. He did have a police record, but we were never told what for, so it sounded plausible. Wow, what a big man. I knew if he seriously beat me, I wouldn't be getting back up. Child services came by a few times. For those visits, there was 2 things that happened. My mom with my stepdad would tell us they couldn't keep the house if we got taken away because of child support. And if that happened, they couldn't keep the dogs because it would be too hard to find an apartment that allowed pets. So they would have to put them down, put them to sleep. And then what my stepdad would do on his own, which was much more simple, if my son, quote unquote, who is my half-brother, gets taken away, I will kill you, he said. Okay. So, BS, the social worker or else, and I did. So, BS, the social workers or else. Oh, so, okay. So, BS, the social workers. So, lie to the social workers or you're in big trouble. So, I did. Okay, gotcha. On top of this, my mother is a hoarder. Oh, God. Why is it always like... Okay, I won't get into that right now. This is more important to finish this. And it took a lot of work to keep the house from getting too bad because of her. Ugh. What a... Man. Poor thing. Been through like the roughest situation, man. My heart really goes out to people who survived through something this traumatic are very strong. I got nothing but respect. When my younger sister went to university, my dad gave her a choice. Stop the payments to my mom and she could get it directly. She wasn't living at home, so I guess she means receiving money to go to college, but don't get it from the mom. She chose to let my mom keep it since I was working full-time out of high school to support the family because my stepdad is fucking useless. Wow, you've had some pretty unreliable father figures. This sucks. He was working as a taxi driver 2 to 3 days a week because he was quote-unquote sick. He wasn't actually sick. He has a habit of lying that he has cancer. Wow. Lying about cancer? Fucking Christ, man. When he doesn't. Going into that would take this message a lot longer, so I'll leave it alone. He is a pathological liar. Yeah, I think that is the very definition of a pathological liar, and wants to be treated like he's dying of cancer, but he's never had it. Wow, what a... How can you live such a such a shameful life? One day he got mad and decided to pick on my sister. She told him to fuck off, and he hit her, but doesn't take shit like I do. She jumped on her chair and launched herself at him. She is 5'2", 120 pounds. He's 6'4", and I was terrified of what he could do, so I grabbed the first thing I could find, a kitchen steak knife. I pulled it off and got between them. He saw the knife and laughed, said, "What are you going to do, stab me?" I said, "Yes." He stopped laughing. I think he took it serious because he didn't bug either of us anymore. Well, good for you for standing up to him. It's not something you should have had to do, but you're very courageous for doing so. Instead, he started bugging my mom. It only got to him calling her a bitch before she finally threw him out. Well, good for your mom for finally throwing out that asshole. The fact that he could hit me since I was 8, wow, what a piece of shit. And she didn't do a damn thing, but him calling her a... So, she didn't kick him out when he was hitting an 8-year-old, her 8-year-old daughter, but she did finally kick him out when she started to get called a bitch by him. Priorities, people. During which time he made claims of homelessness. Yeah, but I honestly don't fucking care. I was just about to say, I don't fucking care. I hope he is homeless. He could die of frostbite. I hope he does. Maybe he can know what it's like to die of cancer. That would be better. He could die of frostbite. I wouldn't give him a dollar store blanket. Plus, he is a pathological liar, so I don't put any stock into what he says. Good. Last time he claimed he had cancer, I said to just make sure he has it in his will that I get a copy of his autopsy report. Oh, since the knife thing, I haven't been scared of him anymore, and it's awesome. Well, good for you. That's very courageous on your part. Anyhow, I was the main breadwinner. This is insane, dude. You're the Atlas of this family. You're carrying the world on your shoulders here, and you're merely a teen in high school. This is too much to put on a child. I was the main breadwinner, which isn't fair, and my sister wanted to help out, so instead, she just worked 2 jobs on top of the full-time school and still managed to get straight A's. Unlike me, she is a genius and can do school with no effort and get A's. When she turned 21, my dad didn't have to pay anymore. Yeah, that's because child support ends then, right? My mom wanted to fight it, but my sister didn't want to. She was like, "Oh my God, enough. I'm not lying that I'm still living with you on paper." Well, good for your sister. Yeah, why should she help out? So my mom was like, "Fine, I'm not signing for your grant thing." Ugh, what a bitch. So my sister didn't get it and had to go get a loan to cover it instead, which she almost wasn't able to do. Wow, I'm glad she was able to get it, though. She was 2 weeks late getting it, but she got an extension and just barely made it to continue her last year. The grant was $7,000. She has to pay back an unnecessary $7K because of my mom. Fucking Christ. So my sister has been screw you to my mom. Won't talk to her, not even for birthdays or holidays. I hope that sets in then. I hope she understands what she did now that she's lost any touch with her daughters because of her very selfish attitude. Now my mom is remarried. I'm out of the house because she has someone to look after her financially, and she is trying to be nice and be part of my life, but she is crazy. She is a nice, good person. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would say that. Is she? I would say she's a nice, good person if she's finally been introspective enough to see the times in her life that she's been so very selfish. But of all the shit she put me through, I can't be around her because she says nice things. Yeah, of course, now that she's getting older and lonely and she realizes what she's lost, now she can be nice. Well, too little, too late. But all I hear is manipulation behind it. Yes, exactly. I can completely understand why you feel that way. And the ways she doesn't actually care about me, I don't fucking know why she is even trying. She is trying to replace my sister with me, but I was the one she said she couldn't love. It's frustrating as fuck. I can't deal with her, and I don't know what to do. Don't worry, it's almost finished, guys. I'm gonna get through this. This is hard, man. I'm like literally choking up reading this. I don't want to reject her because sometimes it's actually nice to be around her, be hugged, to be cuddled. My sister got that, but not me, and I finally fucking got that. When we were little, my mom would get into my sister's bed and sing her to sleep, and I would sit out in the hallway just to listen. Oh. And every time my sister was mean to our mom, I got super fucking angry because I was like, how dare you take that for granted? Jealousy doesn't even cover half of it. And now she is out of the picture, and my mom is mine, not hers. And I think she is a good person at heart, just has serious fucking issues. Like I said, she is crazy. And from what background I now told you, you can see why she is crazy. And it's not just some normal parent is crazy thing. She is actually crazy. So basically, she is my mom. But I never took part till now. And it's what I wanted so bad. But now, there are just times it hurts to even be around her, and I don't know what to fucking do. Well, this is not easy, what I'm going to say. This is going to be easy for me to say and tell you to do, but to physically do this yourself is not going to be easy. Pretty much everything you just told me right now, you need to tell your mom. You need to, as much as you want to be around her and as much as this might push her away, you need to get all of this off of your chest. This is killing you. This is an insane amount of stress. You need to go back through all of this. And I'm not saying this in like a commanding or a way in which I absolutely have to delegate this to you to do. I'm just saying this is the way that you'll get this feeling off of your chest. This is the way you'll feel somewhat free of I guess kind of the sort of emotional prison your mother's putting you in right now. You need to tell her. You need to go through the history of this and be like, Mom, I don't know if you remember it how I remember it, and please don't interrupt me while I tell you everything I'm feeling. But this is what I remember from childhood. This is what I remember from when I lived with my dad. This is what I remember of your ex-boyfriend or ex-husband. I don't know if you was married. This is what I remember of how you treated me when I was 5 and told me you didn't love me. This is what I remember. This is what has stuck with me to this day. This is what is tearing me apart. This is what is making it very hard for me to take your love now and accept it. And it's making it so hard that I'm at constant war with myself over whether or not I want to accept this brand new nurturing and emotional baggage that you want to drop on me right now. And if she listens and she's introspective enough to say, okay, I understand, now let me tell my side, and let her tell it. And afterwards, if she's responsive, if she does not blame you, because she should not be blaming you for any of this, none of this is your fault, absolutely none. If she accepts it If she apologizes, if she says, I'm sorry, I know we lived a hard life, I know I was not the best mother, no parent is perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect at all, and I've made a lot of mistakes, but now I want to make up for those mistakes, I want to make up for time loss, and I want to love you like I should have loved you from day one. And she doesn't have to say that exactly, but if that's the meaning you get from her, if that's the kind of apology and the type of, I guess, eulogy she preaches to you after that, if it's not just this selfish, well, you don't know my pain is much greater, I had to deal with a deadbeat boyfriend. If she gets into that stuff and starts talking about herself, or starts to manipulate you, cut it off. Cut it off. Cut off the relationship. Some people, such as your mother, cannot handle what they've done. They can't handle it. They won't admit it. They won't face it. And they have to be taken down to rock bottom. They have to drop to zero, okay? Maybe even below zero before they finally take a good hard look. Because right now what you're doing, this is not anything I'm blaming you for. I'm just saying this is what purpose you are serving to your mother. You are pretty much an emotional peg in her life. Before it was your sister, and that peg was ripped out, and now she's just grabbed you and pushed you back into the same hole in her emotions to make up for that missing peg. So you're right now just serving as nothing more than an emotional IV for her. You're keeping her on life support with the emotional drain that she's putting on you. And you need to cut that off if she's not going to, number one, listen to how you feel, like you've just told me right now. You've been very brave in expressing all of this to me, telling me this story. This is a heartbreaking story. This is incredibly rough, what you've been through. And the fact that you're here now with us and have the courage to go on, fight for your own life, and even make these very hard decisions like you're doing now shows you are an incredibly strong person. The fact that you've walked away sane, it sounds like you've built a life for yourself, that you hold a job, that you don't try to blame anybody for what you've been through. You don't try to push off your needs and your wants and your emotions and your feelings like your mom did. Shows you have taken your existence to the next level as far as your generation of your family's lineage. Where your mother is, you are leagues above. And you should be very proud of that. Even if you're not, I'm proud for you. You have climbed the Mount Everest of emotional trauma, and I bet you're a better person because of it. You're definitely a better person than your mother, that's for sure. And now the next step, for you to clear your conscience, for you to get all this heavy emotional weight off of your back, off of your chest, to lift this chaos off of you. You're just under this collapsed rubble of chaos that was your childhood. You need to give it all back to your mother. You need to say, this is what you put me through. This is what I dealt with as a kid. This is the trauma I suffered. This is what you did to me. And I want to know how you feel about that. Do you feel like you should apologize to me? Do you feel sorry for anything you did? Do you truly love me now? Because as a kid, you told me you didn't. And it's really hard for me to accept that now because you've just been a turncoat mother, a fair weather mother. And what I'm looking for is a lifetime love from a mother that is dedicated to her kids. And if you can't do that, Mom, if you can't take on the baggage that you put on me in the past, admit the faults from the past, and then promise you'll love me now in every true form of the way without manipulation involved, then Mom, we can't have a relationship. All right? You've risen above everything that you've been put through. And now it's time for you to reach way above that. And the only thing that will hold you back is the weight of this emotional baggage your mother has dropped on you and not getting it off your chest. So like I said, everything you've just told me now, the lifetime you've explained to me, I think it would be extremely cathartic for you to tell your mother this story and explain to her how all this feels to you and how you felt in the past and how now you need to hear her response. And if that response is a selfish one, if it's one that refuses to take blame, cut it off. You don't need that woman in your life. She needs to hit rock bottom with zero love from her kids so that she can take a good, damn hard look at what she's done. And if it takes you cutting her off emotionally as well, so be it. That's her fault. That's not yours. All right? No skin off of your back. All right? I know it might be hard. It might be really emotionally hard, but it's what needs to happen if she will not admit what she's put you through. I hope that helped. That's an incredibly amazing story that you've made it through all that, and good on you for doing so. Okay. Wow, that was a heavy one. That really got me, like, on the heartstrings right there. Okay. Okay, what do we got next? Let me check in with chat after that one. That was like a really long one, so I want to check back with chat, make sure everything's okay. Okay. Sometimes rock bottom is where healing begins. Exactly, Kevin. Very good. All right. Let me just check to make sure everything okay. All right. Did I miss any questions or anything on the way? Doesn't look like it. Sorry, I'm a little bit sleepy today. I did not sleep well last night, so like even my words and everything are. What's your thoughts on pineapple pizza? Okay, let's go there for just a second, so that we can lighten the mood a bit. My thoughts on pineapple people. My thoughts on pineapple pizza is that it needs ham. All right, Meaty Gandalf, hello. Hey man, I'm about to finish my bachelor's in IT, and my big dream is moving to Japan. Do you think a programmer / software engineer can get a job with no prior experience in Japan? Do you speak Japanese? That's the first thing I gotta ask. Because you gotta realize with the job you're trying to get in Japan is a job that a Japanese person can't already fill. All right? There's a million IT guys here, and I'm not, I'm not stepping all over your job. Good on you for getting the degree and getting the training. I personally could never do it. But are you filling a role that a Japanese person can't fill? So, for example, are you bilingual? You can speak Japanese and English. If so, I think you'd have a pretty good shot. If not, no, sorry. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Lewis Candy S. Ackerman presents LAL. Oh, actually, let me make the announcement now. Okay, guys. If you are part of the LAL experience or LAL Life Advice Live or LAL Japan applications, I would very much like it if you would join our closed group. It's an invite-only group, and it's called, I believe, I want to just make sure I say it totally right. I know you got it there, LAL, the Ackerman Experience. So type in LAL space, the Ackerman Experience. You'll see the same symbol that is the wallpaper in the background here. Join that. Oh, there's already 41 members. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that many people joined. I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be chatting it up with you guys. I want the people who are the most serious about, number one, dealing with personal issues, personal problems, to come into this group. Also, the people who want to come to Japan, come into this group. And we're going to discuss in there, and I'm going to ask that whatever be discussed in there, stay in there, so that we do not expose our problems to the world. So that we do not take other members' information. Now, I realize, yeah, it could easily be shared, Scott, whatever. You're not doing anything to protect it. I am just letting you know the ground rules. I would prefer that everything we talk about in there is confidential, even including the Japan information that I give you, because you guys who make it into that program and you guys who go through the interviews and answer all the questions are actually doing the work and making the steps to get here. I want to honor that rather than, the 5 million randoms I get a day that are like, yo, dude, what's up? I can be a doctor in Japan, brah. So that's why that group exists. And for those of you who want to discuss philosophy, life issues, and I guess, be a shoulder for your fellow friend, man or woman, or humanity in general to cry on. Okay. I'm going to read this user's YouTube name so that I'm not going to say her real name. Where to do? What? Waret to do? Okay, whatever. I am moving from New Zealand to Japan in August. I am moving to Kobe with my partner. I already have a holiday working visa. I already have a nice affordable place to live in Kobe through a family friend. I was just wondering if you could offer some advice, maybe point me in the right direction for work. I have a degree, a bachelor's in media arts. My partner is Japanese, and she's been teaching me a little of the language. Well, I mean, unless you speak on a fluent level, you're not going to get any kind of, I guess, what would you do? Graphic design with media arts, websites. You're probably not going to get any work doing that. There's a million people who've graduated from trade schools that teach graphic arts here in Japan. And as you probably already figured out, Japan's got some pretty good graphic artists. They're on the cutting edge of art when it comes to designs and everything. So that would be an incredibly saturated and competitive market just for the Japanese alone. As far as being an English speaker only, there wouldn't be a point for them to hiring someone that only speaks English. They would have to hire a translator to go between you. They would, have to deal with communication problems. So you would have to probably start in English teaching first. Sorry to say it's true, but it is. Okay. Let's see. Okay. No, this person's just applying. Okay, I don't know why they applied on here. Okay. I'm trying to find, I think there's one more person. If you could give me some advice. Okay. This person doesn't say they don't want me to read their name, so I'm going to read their name. Steampunk Gact's actually been on here before. I'm not going to say his real name, though. Or I guess it's a girl's name. I'm not going to say her real name. I just caught the tail end of your latest LAL. I was wondering if you could give me some advice about a situation that I'm in. To make a long and complex story short, let me keep chat open while I do this. Okay, where do I send my question? Send it here. Send it here, Lewis. Just put it in chat. I'll check back in and make sure I read it. Don't worry, buddy. Okay. I just caught the tail end of your latest LAL. I was wondering if you could give me some advice about my situation that I'm in. To make a long, complex story short, I'm a college student living at home for the summer who is also unemployed. No big deal. But my family is rather toxic towards me. And if I could afford to live on my own until college starts up again in August, for me, I would. However, since I am unemployed, I have nowhere to stay. I'm living in this toxic situation. I do have a couple of friends who have said that I can crash with them as needed, but it feels like I would be taking advantage of them if I stayed for more than a night or two, as they have other responsibilities as well, and I am very awkward. Okay. I know the best thing to do is to move out ASAP, but at this rate, I don't know if I ever will. I can provide more details if necessary, but as I said before, I thought I would get another person's opinion or advice on this matter. Thank you so much for your time. Stay golden. All right, steampunked. Yeah, the toxic situation is something you do need to get out of. I realize just saying that is not a big help. What's the job situation look like? You say you're unemployed. I mean, I think the first step to getting out of there would be getting some sort of work. But I see at the same time you say you're going back to school. Is school long distance? I don't know. If you go to start to work a job while you're at home, do you then have to quit it when college starts back up? At the same time, I'm a bit confused why you say you can't go back to college. Did you until college starts? I can afford to live, no big deal, but my family is rather toxic, and if I could afford to live on my own until college starts back up in August, I would. However, since I am unemployed and I have nowhere to stay, I'm living in this toxic situation. Is there a possibility for you to get a job where your college is? So around the area of your college, is there not any employment at all? If there is, I would just say stay employed. Don't live in the dorms, because the dorms kick you out when the school is closed. Most times they do, at least, most schools. Stay in an apartment off campus. And maybe, if possible, I mean, make it walking distance. I don't know if you have a car or not. If not, then yeah, try to make it walking distance. If you do, then try not to make it too far away so you can save money on gas. Try to get a job out there and stay out there. You may find over time, and I've seen this with other people who have toxic families, is that once they move out and are able to distance themselves and get their own life in order and finish whatever they're working on as far as schooling, education, work, etc., that when they take a look back at their family that is toxic or talk to them, the toxicity begins to lessen. Or at least it doesn't rub off on them, or it doesn't bother them because they're not constantly around it. The being around it constantly is the part that's driving you insane, I'm sure. And like you just said, oh, it's easy to just say move out, but I can't right now because I don't have any money to do so. So, would there be a friend out by college where you could crash on their couch for a day or two while you work a job? Do you have a car? If you have a car, maybe sleep in your car for a couple of nights until you can get enough money from a job to rent an apartment. Maybe if you can't afford an apartment, or your credit's not good enough to put a down payment or a deposit or whatever, have you thought about looking in the newspaper for people who rent out rooms in their houses? Okay? Some people will rent out rooms in their houses, like a little old lady, or like a family trying to make a little extra cash that has a big house, and they rent them out usually for incredibly cheap. Like I've seen like as low as $250 a month, $150 a month, because they're just one room in their house and you share the house with them. I would seriously consider that if you could find somebody out there like that by your college. Once you got that place rented, you get your job, you pay them from your job. Try to get everything in cash. If you can, don't go to a place that makes you put down a deposit, or if they do, make sure that it's one that you can get back, and get out of there. Try to get out. If apartment's not a feasible idea, then look for a place in somebody's house to rent. Maybe one of your friends who say you can crash there, ask them if you can crash there, but as soon as you start making money, if you can rent a place there. I don't know. I mean, that's probably the best. I think I probably need a little bit more details to give you a more very detailed description, but I think that should be a good start, at least. All right, let me take a look. Sorry, I need to take another drink, man. My mouth is really dry. Summer weather is killing me. All right, Lewis has got a question. Let me find out. Yeah, sorry, Zachim. We ask that only that people be respectful in the comments. So if you can't do that, I'm afraid, yeah, you got to go. All right. While I realize it's fun to josh and it's fun to kid around and maybe even troll a bit, these are people dealing with serious problems. So we want to at least respect the people who are dealing with problems. Okay. I'm looking for Lewis's question. Let's see. Okay, that guy got deleted already. All right. We got it. Passed it off to Scott. Okay. Yeah, no saying the N-word either. Yeah, this isn't really the place. What is it, like a 4chan raid? I'm a college student and barely get any jobs as I can't get a job legally. Everything has to be under the table. Everyone has their status correct and my fam except me. Oh, that's from Lewis. Okay, so Lewis, what steps do you need to be taking to get your status? What you need to do? I mean, if it's just been a matter of procrastination, then it's time to stop procrastinating. What can you give me a little more details than that? I mean, we're only serious during, yeah, we're really only serious during LAL, right? We're pretty calm outside of this. So, Lewis, can you let me know? More details? Just waiting? No? Let me say this, okay? Maybe I need to save. Okay, that's what I thought. It's money. It's a matter of money. I need to save up $5,000, and I pay for my college by myself. $5,000 to get what, like a green card or something? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, so my advice would be to get a construction job. Construction jobs are the best under the table money jobs that you can get without usually getting any kind of papers signed or with being a undocumented worker. I mean, there's that. Anything else off the grid? There's some farming you can usually do off the grid, although I don't know if that pays very much. But usually, I mean, I've had friends who were in the same situation and they did construction. Construction work is hard. It's brutal, but it pays really well. And a lot of my friends who were undocumented were able to work that and make a ton of money and pay off everything that they needed legally, because they would hire a lawyer and everything to become a citizen. I'm guessing, what do you mean, like become a citizen of America, or where? I mean, it's really different for every country. I mean, if you're in France, you could join the French Foreign Legion. Don't worry about it, Zacham. I think, some people are surprised that we are very strict with our policy here as far as chat goes, but I think after you've stayed here for a while, you start to understand why. Yeah, for a green card. Okay, yeah, so I live in New York. I pay for college myself with money that I get from construction from summer. Yes, America. Okay, so you're already working in construction. Is there any possibility to take on an apprenticeship from anybody as far as what you do for work? I know after you take on, for example, an electrical apprenticeship, you have a chance to make a ton more money. Can you take under an apprenticeship for some other trade within construction that will earn you more? What about, I know, like, another friend of mine who made a lot of money in New York he joined a moving company that helped move stuff. Again, very brutal, very hard work, but it earned him a big chunk of cash that allowed him to get his citizenship ASAP. So those are my suggestions for you. Find the best under the table paying job. I know it's not the best answer ever, but what else can you do? You got to earn the money. You can't procrastinate anymore, and you need that legal citizenship. I would say get one of those hard labor intensive jobs that pay a ton under the table in cash, and while you're working those and you're like, God, I hate this is so hard, it's brutal, imagine how good it's going to be once you get your legal citizenship and you can work an office job. All right, just keep imagining that. You got to keep your goals in your mind as you're working through the hard stuff. Okay, what do we got next? Any other questions? Okay. Kevin Weber says, do you know when switching visas, will the Japanese government accept a university degree without the new apostille verification system? Switching from a researcher visa to an instructor visa. Apostille verification. I'm sorry, I'm totally unfamiliar with that. Is that something new in immigration? Immigration in Japan? I've never heard of such a thing. You can switch visas, though. I mean, it's done all the time. People, sorry, I got my wallet in my back pocket, and it's like digging into me so bad. It's a big wallet. Okay. I'm just wondering, like, is it just a matter? Your question is a matter of, can you switch visas? If so, then yeah, it's not that hard. Tay Kingston, how come you don't go by Unrested anymore? I've kind of reached the point in my life where I more so prefer to be known as Scott Ackerman rather than Unrested. Unrested was kind of my sort of sophomore name in YouTube. And now that I'm taking on more serious things, such as, like, life questions and actually assisting people to come to Japan. Because there's a lot of legalese involved, I thought it would be better if I used my real name rather than a moniker that is kind of like cyberpunk. Jenny has next. Okay. All right. I heard work illegally, so what did I miss? Instead of responding like a jerk, why don't you actually answer the question? This is who he makes his mods? Good karma. Not very good karma going on there. What? Scott, don't make me call your ass again. Stage name? What do you mean? What's wrong? I'm totally confused. What's going on? How did you handle your final exams? Oh, sorry. How did you handle your final exams, and how did you deal with the stress and anxiety of studying? It wasn't very hard for me. I'm an art major. For an art major, we just turn in art projects at the end. I mean, the hardest final that we have is art history, which is brutally hard. I mean, usually the best thing that works, because there's a massive amount of studying. I think I had to memorize something like 500 different cathedrals for my art history class. The best way is to study in 40-minute increments. In between, stop for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. Do a different activity that you enjoy during that time. Stop and get a bite to eat. Drink some water. Keep your brain clear. I think also another thing that really helped me was meditating in between. I used to be really big into meditation. I wish I had the time now. I really don't, because my house is never very quiet. Take some time to meditate in between your lessons, and that'll help kind of sort of do a palate cleanse. Oftentimes, one of the reasons that we start to forget so much is the same reason that we start to lose the taste of something if we shove a bunch of food into our mouth. We get so full that it serves less and less utility, to the point that we can barely taste the food and we're stuffed and we feel rotten. Well, the same thing can happen with studying. You can take in such large amounts of information that it all starts to stack up and compile into a mess. And you need to stop and clear that out by doing a little bit of meditation. Sit down on your bed or lay down on your bed. If you're going to fall asleep, then don't lay down. Sit in a chair. And I would say go to YouTube. Check out some videos called like Meditation Vacation, Michelle's Sanctuary, Jody Whiteley, Lucid Dreaming, Hypnosis. Who else is really good for hypnosis out there? What's his name? Joseph Santiri. Who else? Mikael Stephens. Who else is really good on YouTube for hypnosis? Mike. Is it Mike? Yeah, Mike Hall. Like literally, if you just put Mike Hall in, he's the first Mike Hall that comes up on YouTube. He's got like bunches of videos on it. And then when you go to bed at night, because probably the anxiety is keeping you awake, I would say go to bed listening to things like binaural beats, hypnotic wavelengths that allow you to get deep sleep, or listen to people like Jody Whiteley, who has like 8-hour videos of hypnosis that just let you rest all the way through the night. Try to fill your brain with sort of a white noise when you go to bed. If you try to fill your brain with all the stuff that you've been studying, it's going to keep you up all night, because you're going to start to get worried about, how am I going to memorize all this? How am I going to keep it all in my brain? Sleep during the test period is the most important time to be getting your sleep, to be able to process and digest pretty much everything that you're piling up in your head. So get that sleep by listening to some of those channels I just listed. Michelle's Sanctuary, Mikael Stephens, Michael Hall, or Mike Hall, I think it actually is. Existotherapy, Jody Whiteley, maybe, and if it's ASMR, maybe you prefer to listen to ASMR. Now they even do like ASMR creepypastas, which are lovely to go to sleep to for me. Okay, guys, let's take like 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll call it a day. Have you heard about Randy Stair? Yeah, I just listened to Mr. Metacore's Randy Stair video. It's insane. So sad, man. And so crazy. What do I need to travel to Japan? Passport, vaccines, and what else? And a visa, tourist visa. Take mine, full banana hammer. Okay, so what do we got? I'm 6'2", 205 pounds. I heard shopping for clothes would be hard in Japan. Is it true or is it BS? 6'2", yeah. Okay, so here's what you got to realize about stuff in Japan when it comes to clothing sizes. Number one, you're probably not going to find any shoes that fit you. You're going to have to go on Amazon to buy your shoes. Number two, an XL is an L, okay? An L is an M, and an S is an XS as far as American sizes are concerned. Like the largest Japanese shirt is oftentimes a medium on me, and I'm not a very big guy. Also, the shoulders on shirts here are just too small. Like, I'm not like a massive dude, but my shoulders are far more broad than I guess most Japanese people, because when I wear it, I see the seam and it's like way here close to my neck. It's weird. So yeah, it might be a little bit difficult, but not overly. I mean, you can go to special stores that have larger clothing. Oh, it's in your DMS. My direct messages on Twitter? Is that what you're talking about? My shoulders are huge. Okay, I'm going to go check my Twitter and see if that's what you meant. Give me 1 second, guys. Nope. Okay, so my email, Scott Ackerman email? If so, then give me a second. I need my phone to look that up. I've got a different email open on my computer right now. There it is. Okay, give me 1 second, okay? If you sent it to my email. In the future, okay, I guess maybe you don't want people to read it live. Okay, give me 1 second. Here? Oh, here. Okay, we're about to get the question. Just give me a second, folks. Sorry about this. That's why I just say put it in the chat. I mean, sending it all a bunch of different places makes it very difficult. All right, give me a second. What do we got? Am I allowed to read it out loud? It's an anonymous. Okay. All right, it's anonymous, so I'm not going to say who sent it. Okay, so can you guys post the question there so I can see it? Too much social media accounts. Yeah, I agree. It is too many. The hair, Scott. The hair. What's up with the hair? My hair? It's up in a chomage. All right. Hey Scott, not a heavy question as many posted here, but we are getting married in Yokohama in April next year. Shinto wedding. It's a noon ceremony and should last for over half an hour before a formal lunch not long after for a couple of hours. That's all locked in and cool, but I was wondering from your experience, should we be doing something more that night with the guests? Usually you have, you know, the after party for a wedding, and they usually set something up at a hall. Sometimes they do some stuff that I'm not really a big fan of, like play bingo. You can do that if you want, but personally I would say choose a hall in which to have an after party dinner and go ahead and have some food and drink and laugh and talk. Jake, what do you got to say here? Hey Scott, what's the best way for JAL applicants to contact you? Facebook is usually the best. They can be finicky. Would it be Skype? Patreon's probably the best too. Patreon's way easier. Gross, dude. That's scary. That's nasty, dude. Why you send me this nasty picture of a dude throwing up? That's gross, man. Alright. Okay, here we go. Here's the question, finally. Hi, Scott. I'll be going abroad to Japan next summer. Are there... What happened? Sorry there. Are there any specific tips to deal with xenophobia / racism? I've been studying Japanese for 2 years now and volunteered to tutor a couple of Japanese kids that couldn't speak very well, hardly at all. The racism was pretty clear and was quite annoying. I managed to help bring their grades up to low A's, high B's, and end it with, "You can't tutor us anymore because you're white." I was left in quite a large "what the hell." Yeah, I would be like, fuck off then. What? Have you ever had a similar experience due to your career at your school or your work, or do you have any advice for dealing with it? I'm not much of a confrontation person, but if I prepare for it, I believe I can grow to meet the requirement. Also, sorry, I accidentally sent an email to the wrong one. Okay, so you sent the email to the wrong person. Yeah, sorry, that's right. Okay, I mean, though, that sounds like just an asshole. Like, nobody in Japan is usually that big of an asshole. The most racist people I ever meet in Japan are usually like an Oji-chan, like an old-chan, an old man. They're usually the most racist people, usually because their dads were World War II fighters, and now they're very, they taught their kids to be angry towards, I guess, other countries during the time that Japan was a nationalistic, very patriotic and closed-off country. Now not so much, especially with this generation, what you guys would call the millennials. They really don't care about what race you are. That's not an important deal to them. You're still going to deal with some racism with the older generation, but if a little kid talks to you like that, I don't know what job you would be in, but I would go have a talk with the school's principal, or I don't know what, I mean, I don't quite completely understand the tutoring situation. Like, you were volunteering to do it, and then they said this, I would just be like, okay, fine, fuck you, dude, and walk off. Like, don't put up with that. Don't put up with that at all. If you deal with that in Japan, report it to whoever's in charge, and let that kid get in trouble. That shouldn't be tolerated. Nobody's usually that racist in Japan. I mean, it's usually not that bad. I mean, that's awful. That kid sounds like a piece of shit. Fuck that kid. Sorry, it really makes me angry, dude. Like, you go out of your way to help him, and then he says, "You can't tutor me because you're white." Okay, go find another tutor. Yeah, the middle seems to have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, somewhat. I don't know. Like, I find the most racist person in Japan to be old men. Old men tend to be the most racist towards me. Or, like, yeah, I guess maybe not really old. Like, late 40s, mid 50s. Salarymen tend to be racist too, but I mean, I just don't let it get to me because there's so many other people that balance it out with how nice they are. You could be the sweetest peach on earth and someone's still gonna not like peaches, so there's no point in trying to please everybody. I teach them wrong. I teach them wrong English. Oh, you've already started to teach them wrong English. Are there programs are there programs for children with special needs in Japan? There is and there isn't. I feel like Japan doesn't do enough to help out kids. But when they get close to young adulthood and adulthood, they actually do quite a good job of taking care of people with disabilities. Let me kind of explain how it works. So in Japan, from about kindergarten on up to elementary school, even if a kid has a disability, mental or physical, they'll just put them in the same classes, and they'll put them through the same tests, the same English classes. And sometimes it's a little bit confusing because, you can't always just look at somebody and say, oh, they have a disability. They might look like totally normal. It's not anything that's a red flag or anything like that. And I'm not saying that's the way you should diagnose mental or physical disabilities. I'm just saying, like, for example, if someone has epileptic seizures or something like that because of their disability, sometimes they wear those helmets, and then sometimes you'll just be teaching a class, like as an ALT. Oh, Armando, once again with the $2 donation. Dang, man. Every time you come on, man. Money, money, money. Come on anytime, Armando. So they put them with their normal everyday class, and they don't put them in any kind of special ed classes. Now, it's kind of strange. Like, some people have said to me, like, Of course they should do that, Scott. Why should they segregate them to their own special needs classes? And I'm not saying they should do that so that they can be like bigoted or like, square them off into an area to be like, these are where the special kids go. But there are ways to teach people with mental and physical disabilities that are far more efficient than just dropping them off in normal everyday class. I'm not saying it needs to be structured around babying these people. It doesn't need to be structured around highlighting what their disabilities are. I'm just saying, and I've worked at a summer camp before where it was a special needs summer camp, and I'm talking like severe special needs, like severe developmental problems and stuff like that. We had special classes and stuff for them because they learned at either a different pace, or they learned in a very tactile way, or they learned in a completely different way that I haven't even mentioned here. It's not that we were like, oh, you need, classes that are much easier because you have a disability. No, they weren't easier. They were just taught in a different way. So I don't know why they don't do that more in Japan. Now, where Japan really does a great job of taking care of people with disabilities is when they become a young adult. Japan assigns them a volunteer worker who pretty much sets them up with a job and teaching them how their local transportation works. And usually this job is some sort of repetitive job. And this is for people with severe mental disabilities or severe developmental disabilities. And you'll see this all the time. The person's wearing like a name tag, and they're sometimes hand in hand with the person with the disability, or maybe if they're pushing a wheelchair or helping a blind person. And what they're doing is they're teaching them the path, like literally from point A to point B to get to your job each day. And here's what you do at that job. It could be something very small. Like for those who have severe mental disabilities, they sometimes give them a job at a factory where it's like, all you do is put this one arm on this toy and then send it through the rest of the conveyor belt. There's no way for them to get hurt. There's no machines that could hurt them. There's no way they could get stuck on something. And all they have to do is learn from that volunteer worker to get from the house to the train, take that train line and get off at the right place, get off the train there and go into the factory where they put that one arm on for however many hours that they work. And they end up not just getting funding from the government, because the government actually does do quite a good job of funding those with disabilities, but they're also able to earn a little bit of wage from that job. And I feel like that's great to make them a part of society, even if it's a very small part of just simply adding an arm onto a toy. Okay. Let's start to close it up with the last questions here. All right, James says, how can I tell my mom my problems when I know she'll just brush it off and blame it all on me? She blamed me for everything, even her divorcing her dad. What the fuck? Wow, that sounds like a mom with a serious shame issue. Anyone who can't face the blame of things that are definitely their problem, and let me tell you, the divorce was totally on her. It has nothing to do with you. People choose to have kids together. People choose to start families together, even if they accidentally choose to start a family together. So that is not your fault. You didn't ask to come into this life to break up a marriage. So first of all, your mom's wrong about that. You are not the reason. Is there an emergency? Anyway, I would say, look, Mom, this is the way I feel. You gotta just corner her on this one. Be like, Mom, I feel like you blame me for everything. You're not very responsive to being shown how you've hurt others. You're not very responsive for taking the blame or ever accepting anything as your fault. And if you can't do that, then being around you becomes very poisonous. That's something I don't need in my life. And until you can come to terms with that, or until you can learn to talk to me and accept me in a way in which we equally accept our own blame for the things that we've done, then I don't really see a reason that I need to interact with you, because right now at this point in my life, I'm looking to do nothing more than succeed at everything I'm working at and you're doing the opposite of helping me succeed. See you, Jilly D. Hope your baby's okay. All right. Boot has a crazy one. Okay, give me Boot's one. Sara no chan noru. They can't ban me if they can't find me. Who? Ban who? All right. I'm on my phone. I mistakenly reported the YouTuber's name comment. What's her name? Talk about current events more, please. I can do that in another video, but this isn't really for that. No problem, James. Glad I could help. Okay. There is a Nazi gaijin girl promoting violence. Her name is Sara no Chanoru. What? Really? Okay, hold on. Let's go check this out right now. That's pretty crazy. I need confidence. Please help. Okay, here's what you do. You take a deep breath and you say, confidence now! And then raise your fist to the sky and go running into the morning world. I mean, you got to be a little bit more specific than that. What do you mean you need confidence? All right, let me check this out. Oh, okay, so she's only got 4,000 subscribers, right? She's just going to end up getting banned like Evelion. So, I mean, okay, so I don't really like, but at the same time, I don't think she should be banned. I mean, this is horrible. This is disgusting what she's all about. You know, saying Hitler was right, and she's not joking like PewDiePie. She's serious. You know, why a lot of these people talk about Japan is because Japan's immigration laws are extremely, extremely strict. And he was also a white nationalist. And they don't let in a lot of refugees, and they don't let in a lot of immigrants. And a lot of these Nazi sympathizers are pretty much into that. They're into not allowing anybody but white people into their country, which, I mean, it's fucked up. It's ridiculous. You know, we're all, at the end of the day, it's like, we're not different races. We're not different species. We're all human. You know what I mean? We're all human. We're different races. I mean, we're not different species. We're all human. So why you feel like you should keep your fellow humans out of a certain area or place, I do not know. Dual tribalism and multiple tribes can exist in one place as long as they respect each other's ways of life, and as long as those ways of life are not harmful or violent. A society built around being violent towards any that are not its own race is doomed to fail. Even tribes that describe themselves as nonviolent, or say they commit to nonviolence, if finally threatened and they need to go on the defensive, sometimes they'll pay that type of violence back 10 times more than if it was a mutual war over something people were arguing that they both had a right to. So this is just this is a setup for failure, this kind of thinking. At the same time, I don't think, I try never to censor anything. Come on, we had Julian Blank deported. I don't know, you couldn't get her deported for this. There's no way. I mean, this is hate speech, and hate speech is definitely allowed in Japan. Unfortunately true. I mean, look at the Uyoku. They go through the streets with those vans that are playing music that are like, Gaijin, go back home. You know, I see it all the time. I hear it all the time. They go out there and they have rallies about sending home anybody who's Korean or Chinese. Some of them hate white people too. So, I mean, there's people who probably hate her in Japan as well. So, I'd say they're both equally ignorant. Yeah, sorry. I know. I realize you would like to have someone like that kicked out of Japan. If it was possible, well, with Julian Blank, the issue was the fact that he was sexually assaulting girls. Um, while this girl is a silly person promoting violence, she is not actually going out and committing violent acts. So it would be much harder to get her deported. I see Uyoko and Roppongi all the time. I like to blow kisses at them. Usually what I do is I always hope I'm like have a drink, like a soft drink or something from McDonald's, and I always toss it on the windshield. And like they're such, oh man, those guys are cowards. They'll never get out of their car and want to attack you or anything. They'll just be like, "Oh my god, we made this one really angry." Was Julian Blank the Pikachu guy? Yeah, he was a total loser. Where is he now? You don't hear about him anymore. Yeah, Julian was he was a jerk. Like, he's got videos of him like pushing girls' faces into his crotch when they're working their jobs. Like, they're literally like a Combini register worker is just merely trying to ring him up for the stuff he's buying at the store, and he's like pulling her face in for a kiss, and she's like, nervously laughing when she's like, she doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to be touched like that. And she's trying to work her job, and he's literally holding her hostage at her job by doing stuff like that, because in Japan, the customer's always right. I always keep an eye out for him myself if I ever do go out there one day. He'll never be allowed in Japan. All right. Didn't know he got deported. He never got deported. He just never got his visa approved to enter Japan. Japan blocked him from entering. And actually, one of the people who helped me out a lot with making sure he couldn't enter Japan was my friend Ahmed. So big shout out to Ahmed. To be honest, if a gaijin can be deported for having pot, I'd hope a Nazi inciting violence would be too. You would think, right? You would think, right, Zoyo? Currently, I'm stuck at home trying to find an art job and figuring life out, so I'm waiting for the right time to go to Japan. Oh, best of luck with the art job, man. It's so hard. Mac or Windows? How about both? I like both. Why? Why both? Mac is the best for doing video editing and art and photos. PC is the best usually for video games. I realize you can easily make a Macintosh or a Hackintosh good enough to play video games above and beyond what a PC can do sometimes, but for the most part, you can continuously pimp out a PC to the point of being super strong, way stronger than a Mac, and way cheaper. My biggest problem with Mac is they want to charge an arm and a leg for something a PC could be built for like $800. Both? This is madness. No, they both have their benefits. I've got four Macintoshes. I got a Mac. Yeah, okay, I will tell you one thing that Mac makes that's total garbage is that little Mac storage box thingy. That's like a tiny computer in like a little silver block. That thing's a piece of garbage. Don't buy those. They suck. I've got two MacBooks, one 8-inch, one 13-inch. The 8-inch has only 8 gigs of RAM, and that is slow as hell. The 13-inch has 16 gigs, and it's beautiful and plays beautifully. But again, there's so many games that are limited to PC only that it kind of sucks. Like, I want to play Portal Knights on my Mac, but I can't. What type of news is on TV in Japan? What do they stay focused on? Doesn't Japan have Fox News or CNN type program? No, not at all. I mean, for the most part, Japan tries to sweep a lot of its own problems under the rug and not talk about big national problems, like, for example, the dropping population. What they do love to cover is they love to cover crime. Crime is one of the big things they love to cover and tell their own countrymen about. They don't like to let that stuff slip out of Japan, but it does. And they love to talk about their idols and talento and grabia idols and all that stuff. They love that. Anything they can learn about them getting some kind of problem to happen in their life, they love it. They'll tear them apart. Am I shadow banned? No, Tizawood, I see you, bud. Why would you be banned, dude? You've never said anything that would get you banned. I'm just kind of hanging around now. I mean, pretty much the questions are pretty much finished, I guess. I'm kind of just chilling here. I'm kind of enjoying myself and relaxing. Let's see here. So we need to have teaching experience? No, not at all. A couple people are coming that have no teaching experience at all. What advice would you give someone if they're thinking of starting a YouTube channel? Sigalinda, if you are starting a YouTube channel, first of all, I would make sure whatever you lock yourself into as far as a topic is something that you can get a lot of variation out of. So for example, instead of doing Japan, I would say do a channel on Asia. So that way you can go to different countries, talk about different countries within Asia. You're not just stuck in Japan. One of the biggest problems I worked myself into is painting myself into a corner with Japan. So I've slowly made my way back out, but I mean, the difficult thing is I wish I had the time to make a channel for movies, make a channel for video games, make a channel for reviews, make a channel for philosophy, for ghosts and paranormal stuff and scary stories, but you've got to stop it at some point. So I would say just make sure it's a topic that you can enjoy quite a bit and do till you're, talk about till you're blue in the face. Group chat, yay, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now. Hey, Sally Doom. Anybody else? 1v1, oh. Kill the 1v1 chat after we're doing a group chat. Okay. Okay, kill the 1v1. Okay. 3 horny folks versus 1 gaijin. What? Hooray for socks. Alright, I probably should bring this to an end. Scott, when do you play games typically? Again, I'd love to play some 7 Days to Die. We usually play every night from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And it is a freaking blast. You are more than welcome to join us. It should be, well, I'll look for you tonight. Add me. I'm Unrested JFAC on Steam. Any of you can add me. It's okay. Go ahead. Buy me lots of games. Buy me everything from my library. Buy me stuff. Tons of stuff. I want so much. I want every game on Steam. Buy me every game on Steam. Have you guys played Minecraft recently? No, we haven't. Are you still into Minecraft? Yeah, I love Minecraft. But right now, it's 7 Days to Die. I love it even more because it's like Minecraft. It's like horror, survival horror Minecraft. Man, that game is good, man. Anyway, guys, I better end it. I got to get with my group here. Come join us on LAL space the Ackerman Experience. Come join us there. We can all chat it up there. We can talk more like this. Okay, I'm going to answer this last one. What's the most difficult thing about having a YouTube channel? Probably the most difficult thing is Armando, $2 again, yeah. I would say probably the most difficult thing is staying on a schedule. You'll start out, you'll be very pumped, you'll be very excited to stay on a schedule, and then there'll be times where like you hit a creative slump, maybe you get depressed, maybe you get sick, and you feel like you still need to put it out. You start to feel a sense of commitment to your fans, which you should. But at the same time, sometimes that can be draining. And it's not the viewer's fault. It's not their fault for making me feel drained. It's my own guilt that I feel for not putting stuff out. All right, peace out, Scott. Peace out, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Ann Von Moogle, thank you for your last question there. I appreciate it. And Sally Doom, see ya. Guys, it was a blast hanging out with you, talking about your problems. I hope I was able to give a lot of you some sort of information that helped. If not, I hope my listening was good. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.